Do you think Yokoyama has forced his way into the starting lineup for Sutton?
He has to, doesn't he?
Yeah, I think so.
He has. You can't. He's done that thing where you can't possibly ignore him. So not only did he get the 2 goals, he was dangerous every time he was on the ball. He was going at players. He was quick. He's exciting. I love those kind of players. Those exciting players who have that pace.
They make things happen, don't they?
Yeah, they do. And I think he's made his case where Chris Davies cannot ignore him.
So welcome back to BCFC Royal Blue, and on Tuesday evening, Birmingham City played Fulham U21s in the final game of the group stage of the EFL Trophy. Birmingham City came out 7-1 winners in what was a really interesting game with lots of good goals. And myself and Matt are going to discuss the match during this podcast and just give our general view as we always do. So, Matt, strange atmosphere, wasn't it, really, when we got there? But ultimately, the result was fantastic, wasn't it?
It was. It was a fantastic game of football, fantastic result. But I agree, the atmosphere was a bit like a pre-season friendly,
It felt like that, didn't it?
Yeah, because normally when we're at an away game or a home game, a competitive league game, when we scored, we go nuts, don't we? You know, jump in, beer goes everywhere. Whereas this was just like, yay. It was almost really quite calm.
Even the Fulham goal got a round of applause from the Blue supporters, didn't it?
Yeah,
it was ever so strange.
It was a bit strange, but as you say, let's not take that away from the game and the result. It was great. And I think the Birmingham City social media channel summed it up perfectly. They said in their final post it was a ruthless performance. And I felt like that was true. And you know, Dad, over the past few weeks, we've spoken about themes of clinical edge, finishing teams off. And I know this is the Bristol Street Mowers. I know it's Fulham U21s. But it was still great to score 7 goals. I think that's going to give the team a lot of confidence.
Yeah.
It was great to see some fringe players get minutes, you know. I mean, we can come to individual performances in a minute, but Yokoyama, Sanderson, Leonard, Gardner-Hickman back in the centre mid, not a right back. It was good to see all these different things.
Willumsson again.
Willumsson was outstanding last night. You know, real playmaker he is, isn't he? I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if he finishes this season on 20 goals and 20 assists. I really mean that. He's some player. He is legit.
So much for not talking about individual players.
I think him and Yokoyama deserve special mentions. But yeah, I mean, before we get into the game, Dad, we met a lot of people last night. I mean, do you want to get the shout outs?
Yeah, it was fabulous. Honestly, we there was I think there was a attendance of around about 6,500, whatever it was, because there was only about a handful of I think there were parents for the Fulham players. So the crowd was primarily Blues, but we bumped into so many people, and we always are thankful when people come up and have a chat with us, and it was great. And if I didn't remember your name, I do apologise. But I have wrote a few names down that I remembered at the game. So if yours isn't on there, you did speak to us. Please don't take that as anything bad. It's just that I can't remember. But we spoke to Adam and his brother again, and we seem to bump into them, don't we, at every away game and obviously at home games. They're lovely lads, aren't they?
They are lovely.
And he asked us to give a shout out to his dad, Warren. So Warren, we know that you watch the podcast, and you know your sons have asked for your name to be mentioned. So yeah, big shout out to you. We also spoke to Mark and Chris in the box to box. We had a good chat with them, didn't we?
Yeah.
They came and sat with us while we had a pint. We had some really good chats, and again, really great chaps, weren't they?
Yeah.
So nice meeting you two guys again, and I'm sure we'll bump into each other again. And then Tracy came over with one of her daughters, didn't she? And she asked for a mention. So Tracy and Carl and your children, Carly and Phoebe. I hope I've remembered those names correctly. Yeah, big shout out to you too. And Steve Carter came over as well. He came over and had a chat with us, didn't he? And just said how much he loved the channel. So that was great as well. There's one chap as well. I didn't get his name. He's the chap that went to Lincoln without a ticket. Thought he'd get one and didn't get one. But he said he had a lovely day around Lincoln, didn't he? So he was a nice chap as well, wasn't he? So yeah, all you people and everybody else we spoke to, you know, big shout out to all of you. And, you know, thanks for coming up and having a chat. Thanks as well for your very kind comments about the channel and what we're doing as well.
Yeah, agreed. Yeah, it's always nice to meet people at the games, and you know we meet a lot, don't we? So as you said, it's always nice to, because I say this a lot, so I know I'm a bit of a broken record here, but it's nice to put names to the YouTube tags, because you know you read. You know, Marky 124, or you read X, Y, and Z. You know, it's nice to put names to those.
Yeah.
So yeah. Anyway, thank you for stopping us and saying hello. But
yes, so back to the game then. So let's talk about the starting lineup first, because we expected a lot of changes, didn't we? Because we knew it was you know, it wasn't a league game, it was the EFL Trophy, but there were 7 changes to the starting lineup. So into the starting lineup came Peacock Farrell in goal, Alphonse Samsted, as right back. Dion Sanderson came back as centre half. Mark Leonard started in the middle alongside Taylor Garden-Hickman as well, because Paik and Awata were rested. Alfie May came back into the starting lineup, and so did Umuni Yokoyama. So 7 changes. And what it made me realise, Matt, as well, because you think, oh, if that's our second team, what a strong team we've got, because I don't think we have got a weak team. I think that you look at that as our starting lineup, and you might think, well, those players, 7 of those players didn't start against Mansfield in the previous game. It just shows you how strong our squad is.
It's crazy.
Our bench was crazy. Let me just read out our bench. This is crazy. This is best. So we can only name 7 on the bench. We had Ryan Allsop, Ethan Laird, Ben Davies, Tomoki Iwata, Sohing Paik, Keshi Anderson, and Lyndon Dykes.
It's crazy.
It's mad, isn't it?
It really is mad. And me and you say this a lot, Daddy. Remember at away games, we looked at the bench against Mansfield and I'm like, this is just nuts. Like the depth we have, and this is going to make.
That's not even mentioning the injured players: Lee Buchanan, Christian Bielek, Scott Wright. We've got Alfie Chang as well, who's making his way back as well. So it's such a strong squad, and to put that squad out, you think, oh, that's the 7 changes, but that side don't look weak.
No. I think you could play a borderline 3rd string team this season. I'm talking, this season with the quality we have, and we'd be okay with the 3rd string. It really is that ridiculous in our depth. And I know we're going to come back to the cup game in a minute, but this will do us massive favours January, February next year when people are fatigued in the season, suspensions. We're going to have that quality and depth, whereas your other League One teams aren't going to have that quality and depth.
Well, we've already experienced it, Matt, haven't we? Because obviously we get somebody like Christian Bielek go out at back, and then we've got people like Ben Davies and Dion Sanderson. And Clara, obviously, he's immense, like Clara, isn't he? But he started Stansfield as a number 9. Interestingly, Alfie May started as number 10, and he put Willumsson out on the right, which we thought was interesting, because we all wonder, don't we? Where's he going to play Stansfield and May when we saw them in the starting lineup together? So that's how we started. And then, should we go through the goals? Because there's quite a few goals to go through.
Because we'll be here all night, because we've got 8 goals to discuss, and I think individual performances will come into the goals that we discuss anyway. So do you want to take us through goal 1, Dad? The Stano goal.
Stansfield goal again. Again through pressing. We won the ball off the on a press off the Fulham defenders, and once again Willumsson played a lovely ball through. The thing is, what I like about Willumsson, when he plays a ball, it's always like a measured ball. It's almost as if it's always the perfect speed. It's either a little dink or a through ball, and he did exactly the same thing in the first goal. And of course, Stano in those positions there, he knocked it just to the what would be the right of the goalkeeper, went inside the left-hand post, and that made it 1-0, and that got us up and running, we thought.
Absolutely. And the key for me here was 2 things. I love this goal because 1, it was the first goal, get you off the mark, and 2, it shows again Chris Davies' high press, high intense football, which got us the ball back. Because I think it was their centre half or their left back. They tried. They tried to push past Stano, and Williamson intercepted. So again, it just showed that Chris Davies' football is really coming into fruition now at Blues, and beautiful ball from Williamson. And Stano,
it was fantastic.
He's not missing from there.
Well, we made a comment, didn't we? We were talking during the game about how about Fulham. They're under 21 teams. But you could even see the way that they've been coached, that they're coached to play from the back. So this is, like you made a point as well. This is where all teams play like this now. But you could just tell for a group of young lads of that age, they're quite composed on the ball, and they weren't intimidated by the fact that they were playing a team that was like top of League One. A fair play to them. Obviously, it would be an experience for them to come to St.Andrews, and it probably would be one of the biggest crowds they've ever played in front. I'd suspect, 6,000. I mean, under 21s they play in front of quite small numbers, don't they? Fair play to them. But then they equalised, didn't they?
I was just about to say that's a perfect segue into an absolute screamer of a goal, isn't it? I mean, what a goal! I mean, we've been going down the Blues for many, many years, Dad. I don't know many times where the home crowd, St.Andrews, has clapped a goal. I can count them on 1 or 2 hands maximum.
We did one earlier in the season. We clapped Stano when he scored against us.
That was slightly different context, but I didn't clap them, by the way, just for the record.
Neither did I, actually.
But last night, what a goal! Absolute screamer. He picked it up. He'd done a couple of body feints.
Didn't pick it up. That'd be handball.
He took it round 2 or 3 different players and pinged it off. I didn't realise at the time. I thought it went in the top corner, but it actually went off the bar.
It was a really good finish.
What a
finish.
I
mean, to be honest with you, that was our own making as well. Because to be fair, we give the ball away initially, but he sort of dinked it around and then sort of took it to the side and then pinged it into the right. It was Martial Goddo, his name.
Good player.
I think he's one to watch for the future.
Good player.
He was very because he was quite lively in other
was.
parts of the game as well.
Yeah.
The number 47, I think he was.
I think when I watched that goal live, Dad, I thought, what a screamer! Absolutely couldn't be stopped. But actually, when you look at it back, and I'm being hypercritical here, we had a lot of bodies that were there that didn't put a foot in. Really, if I'm honest, you know, I mean, he had way too much time and space. And again, when you hit League One, Championship, Premier League, you're going to get punished every single time. And you know, it's an under-21 team, but it's a Premier League under-21 team, and Fulham will punish you. So fair play, screamer of a goal, and as you say, I've not heard a St.Andrews crowd clap many away goals before, and that deserved. Well, it was a pretty overwhelmingly noisy.
It was up there, you know, with some of the best goals that we've seen this season, definitely from an opposing team. But yeah, it was pretty tight. We did create chances in the first half. You know, I think Alfie May had a couple. He had tried that one dink and it went to the goalkeeper. I think Alphonse Samsted had a header, but I think he was leaning backwards and it just went wide. And then it took us to take the lead. Took us to the 43rd minute to the second goal again. Same combination. Willumsson put it through to Stansfield, and this one just hit the post. And then sneaked in as well.
It's almost slow motion, wasn't it? It was just trickling like a grass cutter trickle.
I think it was a very intelligent goal because I think Stano knew exactly what he was doing because he was in the perfect place.
And also, if you watch that goal from a little bit earlier build-up, it's Willumsson again. He passes the initial ball out to Samsted. Samsted passes it back to Willumsson, and Willumsson then plays in Stano. So Willumsson is 100% involved in that link-up play, moving us through. So, again, just a highlight. I mean, don't get me wrong, in my opinion, again, nice segue again into Yokoyama's goal. I think Yokoyama was man of the match for me off the back of his 2 goals, going at players. But for me, Willumsson was not far off second. I thought he was outstanding. And this goal and the first goal proved it to me. His assists and his play and his intelligence off the scale, isn't it?
It's amazing. And, you know, like you say, we went on to that third goal then, didn't we? This was in the 54th minute. So this is where we went 3-1 up. And we got a bit of daylight between us and them, didn't we? And again, Yokoyama, you know, it's staggering, really. You know, he just goes down the left. What I like what he did as well, he went nearly to the actual goal line and he cut it back, and the defender actually skidded, didn't he? And then he just rifled it.
He does that a lot.
Roof of the goal.
A big part of Yokoyama's game is getting either sort of in between the 6-yard and the byline, if you're going to use that as a sort of metric of where he goes, and then he cuts in, or he does a feint and then he cuts back in, and that was just what a finish that was. Absolutely unbelievable.
And that was his first goal for Birmingham City.
Yeah, what a way to get off the mark.
Yeah, it was a cracking goal. And I think what I loved as well about Yokoyama as well, all the way that the players all went over to him and, like, you know, and really, really happy for him as well.
Yeah. Did a little dance, didn't he? And Stano was sort of cheering him on, which was quite split opinion on social media, but I thought that was quite a funny idea.
And to me, the next goal, the fourth one, is my favourite goal of the game, and that's Alfie May's goal. And it wasn't a spectacular finish or anything like that. It was like a team goal.
Do you know what my favourite part of that goal was? It wasn't it was the pass from Gardner Hickman to Stano. What a ball that was! And again, credit to Gardner Hickman here, because his distribution last night, or sorry, time of recording was last night, but it was brilliant. He's pinging it through the channels. I mean, I think he got a few assists, and his passing was really good. Good team in the centre mid. So started with Hickman, nice run from Stano, that classic run from Stano through the back.
Yeah, on Gardner Hickman, sorry to interrupt you. On Gardner Hickman, I like him because he's got a bit of an edge to him.
Yeah, I like him.
He's got a bit of a bite, and I like that, and I think that's what we need, you know. And I think obviously midfield to me suits him better. Although he's been brilliant at right back, as you know, while Laird's been out injured. But the problem with midfield is, how's he going to get into the midfield with what we got at the moment? We got Mark Leonard waiting as well, but he played really well. He did, and like you say, that ball to Stansfield was very, very clever, wasn't it?
So good, yeah.
But what did Stansfield do? He was on a hat trick. He could have leathered it and tried to score, but he laid it off to Williamson. What could Williamson have done? He could have shot and scored, but no. And then that little dink to Alfie May, just a little, have a go, have a goal. And
it was kind of like the Lincoln away to Keshi Anderson, a little flick.
Yeah.
A little flick to the side, you know, complete team player. And as you said, 2 people could have scored that goal.
I could watch that goal. In fact, I've watched that goal over and over again. I just love it because it's a proper team goal, isn't it? And you know, that tells me as well that they are playing from a team. So anybody that's saying, we can't play like Jay Stansfield and Alfie May together, they're all involved in these combinations. I think they're still learning as they go along. Mm-hmm. And that goal showed me that, you know, that they are out to play for the team and not for... Not, you know, firstly, Alfie Stansfield's on. He could have tried to get a hat trick but he didn't. He weren't selfish. Put it to Williamson.
Yeah.
Williamson just dinked it. It's absolutely brilliant. So that made it 4-1.
So we're going to jump from your goal of the night to my goal of the night, and this was Yokoyama's second, and a lovely ball from Yokoyama initially to May down the left-hand side. May then obviously tries to get it in, a little bit lucky with sort of where it flings up in the air, but Yokoyama just absolutely caught it like a peach, didn't he? Absolutely beautiful.
It reminded me of one of those goals that Stansfield scored last year when he takes the net off.
Yeah. On the volley as well, though.
Absolutely levied. That's good technique as well.
It was kind of like a Waters goal on the edge of the box, on the volley, but with Sano's force. It was just, what a goal that was.
You're right, it was a little bit of luck in terms of the way the ball pinged up to it, but he took no prisoners, did he? He just put his foot through it as well. So that was a great goal. That was his second goal of the night, and that was 5-1. Just before that goal, Williamson and Stansfield were substituted on the hour for Keshi Anderson and for Lyndon Dykes, and then on the 67th minute, again just before that goal occurred, Clara and Cochrane were substituted for Laird and for Ben Davies. So again, that shows you that Chris Davies was trying to get a bit of rotation in there as well.
Can I just say as well, I thought Ethan Laird when he came on was exceptional. I thought his passing and his distribution was brilliant. He went at players.
He ain't a right back, is he? I mean, if you look at again, I know you all love it, guys. I want to get a heat map of Ethan Laird. I bet you and I will do this. I bet you that the vast majority of his positions on the pitch are in front of the halfway line.
That's the way Chris Davies wants us to play, and then Clara or Bielek will come over. Clara on the right side comes over to cover that right side of the defence. So
you're right. When he came on, he does give us that attacking option.
Yeah, but his passing was great. He was fast. He was going at players. He got a couple of good crosses in. In fact, he scored and it was disallowed, and he was proper chuckling to himself, didn't he? Because he was looking for that goal when he led.
He still is. He's desperate for that goal, and I can't wait. And he will score one.
Yeah.
He will get a goal, and I think everybody will be chuffed for him when he scores that goal. Yeah. And then the referee puts on 8 minutes of injury time at the end of the game, and we got 2 goals in that injury time. So goal number 6 was it literally reminded me of, this is the goal where Anderson went through. Yeah. It reminded me of the goal which was on the other side that Fulham scored against us, which Stansfield scored, where they pinged the ball over the top. It was a little bit like that. And then
even more than that, I've got a really specific reference. I'm sure most people won't even remember this goal because it wasn't even our club, but in the Barclays Premier League in sort of like the 03, Liverpool played West Brom at the Hawthorns, and I can't remember who was in goal at the time, but it was Route 1, and I was watching it live at the time, and this pass was so similar, and it was a goalkeeper straight through to, do you remember Djibril Cissé? Djibril Cissé. I always used to butcher his name. And it was literally that straight over the top, right in, and then straight through on goal. And it reminded me of that. Sorry, off on a tangent, but beautiful ball by Ben Davies. Brilliant finish, good vision. I mean, the space from Anderson was fantastic.
Well, it was good that he wasn't offside, so he obviously timed his run perfect.
Yeah.
And put it away. Yeah, he was under pressure in the end because obviously he had defenders coming back at him. And that's one thing that the Fulham under-21s never ran out of with energy. They kept going all the way through, didn't they? And by the time he got through, he had players on him. I think a defender tried to slide and block him, but he'd be shot by then. That made it 6-1.
Yeah.
And Anderson gets another goal, and then Lyndon Dykes gets his goal.
Yeah, I loved it.
And I think almost it wasn't a cheer, but there was a big round of applause when he scored because he needed that goal, didn't he? And again, Samstead got in down the left because he moved him onto the left. So when Laird came on, he shifted Samstead to left back. So he was bombing it down there, put the ball across, and then did what Lyndon Dykes does, he slid in and actually scored the goal. So I think
good finish.
Yeah, it was a good finish as well. I know that it was criticised by some people for that miss against Mansfield, but if you put the ball in the right place to him, he's quite dangerous, and that showed that was a good finish. Yeah,
my 2 favourite highlights of the night, Dad, was Yokoyama with his 2 goals, 2 screamers of goals, and shortly just below that was Lyndon Dykes getting that goal because for one, he's kind of shut the critics up about the Mansfield game a little bit. I know it was under-21s against Fulham, but it was really good to see him get off the mark, get on the score sheet, and hopefully that brings him a little bit more confidence moving forward.
And I think that's what this game serves to do. Yes, it's a competitive game. It's it's for a cup, but of course it was an opportunity for Chris Davies to give a run out to the players that weren't getting in the first team or getting picked for the starting lineup. And I think all the boxes were ticked yesterday. I felt this is not being overly critical. This is just an observation. I felt that in the first half there were occasions where we still tried to overplay it a little bit. in the final third. I think, we were just tried to take that extra pass too much where we could have possibly done something. But I think that's the way Chris Davies has got them playing. He's got them, probing
Yeah.
and looking for options, and they don't shoot if there's a pass on. So I think as fans, we just saying shoot, 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 but they're not really coached to do that. They're coached, well, maybe we're going to open them up in a different way. So I think we have to, as fans as well, I'm talking about myself as well here, we have to be patient as well during this build-up play because they're coached the way that Chris Davies wants them to play.
Yeah. I couldn't agree more, Dad. And it's really important because, there's a lot of fans who still shout, get it up, boot it. And those days are gone. And there's loads of fans who go, shoot, shoot, shoot. And I'm arguably one of them. I'm like, shoot, come on, we're overplaying it. Yeah. But actually, Chris Davies has them set up in this very specific way where we probe.
Yeah.
We look for weaknesses. We look for gaps.
Yeah.
And that way we look and break teams down. And we look great, don't we? And we've looked great all season, minus a couple of moments in games, to be honest. So I'm glad we found our scoring boots and, 7-1, happy days.
You can see as well why we do concede goals as well, because we play such a front foot game. We are going to leave gaps at the back, because if you've got teams who've got fast-paced players and they break our press, we are going to make ourselves vulnerable, and that's going to continue to happen, and we need to be ready to expect that to happen. But obviously the philosophy is going to be, we score a lot of goals, we can afford to give 1 or 2 away. So it's going to be a bit of heart in your mouth at times with the way we play. But I think I'm watching the best football I ever have at Blues. And I'm nearly 60, and I look at the football we play, and it's absolutely stunning on occasions. We do make mistakes. Maybe we don't score enough goals in some of the previous league games we've had before, but all that will come as well. But over a good performance, there's a bit of credit to Fulham as well. We had 63% overall possession, which is lower than what we normally get in league games. So fair play to the Fulham players. Again, they were energetic.
Premier League though.
They are Premier League, and you could tell. In fact, actually, I don't know if people realise this, but Fulham under-21s are third in the Premier League under-21 league, just behind Manchester City and Brighton.
And they beat Shrewsbury in the cup this year.
Yeah, they beat 2-1 at Shrewsbury as well. Against some. I've wrote that, now that you've said it, I'm backing you up because I wrote it down as well. The 2 standouts for me were Willumsson with 3 assists and Yokoyama with those 2 goals. I mean, there were some other good performances as well, to be fair, but those are the 2 standouts. And based upon that, do you think Yokoyama has forced his way into the starting lineup for Sutton?
He has to, doesn't he?
Yeah, I think so.
He has. You can't. He's done that thing where you can't possibly ignore him. So not only did he get the 2 goals, he was dangerous every time he was on the ball. He was going at players. He was quick. He's exciting. I love those kind of players, those exciting players who have that pace.
They
and
make
go
things
around
happen, don't they?
Yeah, they do. And I think he's made his case where Chris Davies cannot ignore him.
Yes. So overall, for me, I think it ticked a lot of boxes in terms of what Chris Davies would have wanted to see, and now it's just a case of giving obviously those players the game time that they needed, giving them a bit of confidence. I think it's probably going to give them a few selection headaches as well.
Yeah,
which is a good thing to have, isn't it?
Exactly. With the depth we have and the quality we have, Chris Davies, has that job on his hands of keeping everyone happy, rotated, fit, and motivated. So
Mark Leonard alluded to that. I don't know if you saw his interview, his post-match interview.
Yeah.
He said it was a bit frustrating not being the first, but he said that's part and parcel of football. And he said, I'm just going to get my head down, I'm going to work, and that's the attitude you want from players as well.
To be fair, we've not even 20-odd minutes in there. We've not even mentioned Mark Leonard, and I know we're wrapping up now. But for me, very quickly, I thought he had a great game.
Yeah,
really good link-up play. Really good. I love the fact he doesn't dawdle. He just boom into his feet, off, and he's always looking to move us forward or smartly backwards. He's a clever, intelligent midfielder, and as everyone knows on this channel, big fan of.
I think he will get game time. I think Paike Nawata got a rest against Fulham under-21s. So I think the midfield will be rotated on occasions, but I do think that Paike Nawata clearly at the moment Chris Davies is first choice, and rightly so, I think.
But I think where we could use Leonard, Dad, is against Charlton, against Mansfield. When we have those 3 games in a week and the midfield's a little bit fatigued, I think Leonard would have made the world of difference. In hindsight, 2020 against Mansfield and against Charlton, it is what it is. But for me, Dad, we move on. Really good win. Good to get goals. Good to get that clinical edge back, even if it was, an under-21 team. It doesn't matter. Confidence will be there from these players, and we move on. Yeah, we move on, and we move on to the next round now. So that win puts us into the next round, which is the knockout stages of the trophy. So it'll be interesting to see who we draw in the next round. But we enjoyed the game, and it'd be great to know what your comments are, Birmingham City supporters. If anybody watched this podcast is a fan of Fulham, either the full team or even the under-21s, then we'd welcome comments from you as well. But please, if you do want to leave a comment, just leave a comment below.
below, and myself and Matt will always get around to reading them and getting around to responding to them. As always, if you did like this podcast, then don't forget to give us a thumbs up. And if you haven't checked us out on our social media channels already, then pop along to our X page and our Instagram page. And if you like to listen and watch your podcasts on Spotify, we're also on there as well now. So you'll see the handles appearing for all these platforms on the screen right now. And of course, if you haven't subscribed to the channel already, don't forget to press that red subscribe button. If you want notifications, a little bell icon next to it will allow you to be notified every time that we put a video out. So we hope you enjoyed the video, and myself and Matt will see you on the next one.